Let's speak more about this with the Gauteng Economic Development MEC Tasneem Motara, who also visited schools and early childhood development centres today. A very good evening to you, MEC. Grateful for your time. So 20 schools a year, or one school per month, basically. Is that doable?
Yes, hi, how are you? I think it is doable. There's a number of schools that are under construction and due for completion. So definitely, I think there was a great delay during the COVID period. As you know, the construction was one of those sectors that were closed during the COVID period. But since COVID, that sort of work had to be speeded up, and I do know that there's a number of schools that are due for completion in the near future.
How many?
Well, definitely about 10. I know that they opened one today, so there are 10 that are due for completion at various stages.
So at various stages this year, by the Premier's target, you'd need to double that number in just this year.
Yes, look, the target that the Premier used is based on historic figures. People like that we always face at the beginning of the year. People just moving to the province looking for admission, especially on the first week of schooling, of the schooling year. There are also plans afoot to reopen some of the schools that were closed due to admission numbers dropping. With population numbers increasing, those schools now need to be reopened as well.
Are you able to give us an idea of the areas most in need of new schools specifically? There's no, I would really say in the Soweto area definitely. In the Tshwane North, South, the big townships in Tshwane, so you're looking at all of them, Mamelodi, Soshanguve, Hammanskraal, and then also in the Ekurhuleni area. I think yesterday when the MEC of Education was briefing us, gave us some of those figures where there are high pressure points in the Ekurhuleni area. So those are really where the backlogs are. You're responsible for economic development. Gauteng is a place where many of us come for personal economic opportunities, right? And as you continue to build these schools in the province, thousands more people are arriving, by some estimates monthly. Can you keep up realistically?
Realistically, no. And we definitely have to be able to look at a different approach, because we can't build our way out of the problem. So we've got to really understand what is the problem. Part of the problem, of course, is porous borders. I think we've made that point, because not only are we getting learners from other provinces, which is not a problem, but we're getting learners who are coming from across the borders of our country, which is quite challenging for us. The second part is, of course, just the depressed economy and economic situation that the country as a whole is faced with. If there's not enough economic activity in home provinces or provinces that border Gauteng, people are forced to move into the city centre, into the urban areas to be able to look for work and economic opportunities. We are in discussion with our neighbouring provinces just to look at how together we can resolve that. How do we support as Gauteng, their economic strategies, their economic plans to be able to attract and keep citizens closer to their homes. I think, if choices have to be made, people would prefer to be at home, instead of having to move and be migrant labourers, as it were.
The other problem you're facing, just lastly, has to do with the vandalism of school infrastructure. In 2022 alone, about 120 schools in Gauteng were vandalised. In fact, over the December holidays, that was 24 schools which were targeted. How much of a setback is that to the broader plan of making sure that schools aren't only built, but where they exist, they are protected, A, and B, you don't have to constantly go back to fix the same facilities?
Oh, definitely. It's a huge setback because, like you're saying, instead of addressing the backlog, we're going back and spending money where we have spent before. The Premier would have announced quite comprehensive plans just around safety and security because, without addressing safety and security issues, you're also not going to address the economic issues. The schools, as you know, in Gauteng, we've got a huge rollout of what we refer to as smart schools. So much of the vandalism is to be able to break in and take equipment from the schools, either the smart boards or the loose equipment that are quite valuable. And it does set us back because we've got to go back, replace them, because ideally we want learning and teaching to take place across schools in a standardized fashion. It is a huge setback, but we hope that our approach and interventions on safety is going to respond adequately.
MEC Tasneem Motara, thank you for your time tonight.